Good morning, everybody. Okay, today we will continue on this chapter of mindfulness about death and dying, because this chapter is very important for the spiritual practitioner, and also it's very important for us to actually. This should be remind and should be practiced every day, because reason is everybody know death is certain, time of death is uncertain. So if you remember this practice every day, then what happened? Anytime you die, it will be very easy for you to not carry away your mind in time of death. Your mind not be carried away with the fears, confusion, and also it helps you to focus on the death and dying, so that you can take a better life in future. Because the death is a very powerful transition. It's just very powerful. It's very powerful. If you use that opportunity, it is very powerful opportunity to take advantage, to take a great rebirth. Because in time of death, the next life's karma or seed is ripening, and when you start ripening, and then condition is very important to ripen the right seed. So if you want to take a good rebirth, you need to pick up or ripen the virtuous karma. To virtuous karma, everybody have many virtuous karma. Whether you will pick up the virtuous karma or non-virtuous karma is totally depend on your time of conditional cause for the time of death. So conditional cause should be virtuous or positive. To have the virtuous conditional cause, virtuous cause, you must practice by now. So every day you practice, then your mind becomes so familiar and so used to it, then even time of death you can focus and develop, the generated positive attitude or positive mind. So this will not happen if you don't practice normally. It's not going to happen at that time of death. So even you are very smart, you read a lot of things, and but time of death, even you are very strong, it will very difficult. So it's very important for everybody, especially your practitioner. It's very important for us to meditate, learn about death, and the best opportunity, I used to tell one of my teachers, this best opportunity to practice death and dying, especially before you go to sleep. And then you must think the death dying process. So every day you do this dying process, then in your entire life you're doing this. So anytime you die, you immediately and when you realize your time of death is certain, the time of death is come from, you feel like you have feeling, now I'm going to die. Then what happened? You will be automatically go into the mode of dying process, because you're practicing every day. You know that there's no other option, for any other good option for escape or to have a peaceful death. So once you learn about this, is very important. I encourage to meditate every day before you go to sleep.
大家早。那今天我们会继续谈论，就是要正念思维死亡，临终跟死亡的这个章节。 那这是一个灵性上修持非常重要的一个主题。那特别是在格鲁派也是如此。那这个思维呢，是我们每天都应该要修行的，而且是每天都应该要思维的。我们应该要去思维说，死主必来，然后但是死无定期。那如果我们能够每天都去做这样子的实修的话，跟禅修的话，我们在面临死亡的时候，我们就不会因为恐惧或困惑而让我们的心被恐惧跟困惑带走，我们的心就能够专注在临终跟死亡。那因为死亡呢是一个非常有力量的一个转换的时期，所以呢，我们应该要利用在临死的这个机会呢，让我们争取到我们能够来生投生善趣，有好的善生、好的投生的这个机会，好好的把握它。那死亡的时候，我们就因为要有好的来生，要有一个善生。那其实是要让我们的善业种子成熟。那种子要成熟，它是要关带因缘的。那在我们死的时候，死心是一个善心还是一个是恶心？那这个因缘对于我们来生投生到善趣还是恶趣来说非常的重要。所以要让我们善业的种子能够在来生成熟，让我们能够投生善趣，有好的善生。那我们就必须要在临死的时候，要有正向积极的想法，要有善念。那这个呢，如果没有每天串习，让我们的心去熟悉，要有正面的观念，然后要能够专注在这种善念上，那到临死的时候，如果我们平时就没有这样子的串习，其实是做不到的。所以仁波切建议我们应该要从当下现在就每天开始做此修，因为呢，如果我们的心不熟悉去串习死亡的过程，去串习有正念善念，那即使是再聪明的人，他在死亡的时候都会被死亡强大的力量这影响，然后让心没有办法好好的专注。所以每日去思维死亡无常跟临终的过程，这对一个修行人来说是非常重要的。而且呢，死亡跟临终呢，这是一个非常好，呃，让我们可以决定来生，到底是投生善趣恶趣的一个最佳时机。那仁波切的师长们都曾经说过，每天呢练习思维临死的过程跟修习死无常的这个道理，最好的时候呢，就是在睡前，我们去想整个临终的这个过程。那这个如果我们每天在睡前做这样子的串习的话，等到我们临死的时候，我们会感觉到，我们那时候已经感觉到说，哦，我要死了。那但是那时候就可以意念起整个临终的过程，所以呢，我们就应该要每天的去修这种临终的过程，这样我们在死亡的时候才能够善终，才会能够面临一个宁静的死亡。那所以仁波切也鼓励大家每天开始这样修。那是
So we go quickly. It's actually we last time we talked about the disadvantage of not remembering the death and the advantage of remembering death. Do you remember we finished that, right?
Yes, I think we did that twice.
Yes. So now we'll how to cultivate it, the mindfulness of death. So today we will talk about this. Now if you really if you have advantage of not remember the death and the disadvantage of not remembering the death and the advantage of remembering the death, then now how should we will be mindful about death and dying? So they say in all the Lamrim teachings, all major Lamrim teaching, they teach us this 9 round of reason, 9 point of death meditation. So this 9 point, this main 3 point, then each in main 3 point, each point has a sub point three subpoints. So how to cultivate the mindfulness of death, the 9-point death meditation. First root, this is a first root point. Root point is contemplated death. Death is sudden. So everybody, you should remember this. Death is sudden. Death is sudden. So number one, death is sudden. This everybody know this, but Lama Tsongkhapa said, everybody have this kind of, oh, everybody going to die. We all have this feeling, but we don't. The main point is, main reason why we are not so like not so aware about it, that is because we know we're going to die, but we have this grasping at a permanent. So we have this strong grasping at the self that I will not die today, I will not die this year, I will not die next 10 years, I will not die until I will become 80 something. This is very strong, strongly rooted in us. That is one of the very dangerous attitude. So we have changed. First root is contemplating that death is certain. We have to do this, okay? And then if death is certain, the first point, Lord of death definitely comes, nothing can prevent. So nobody can prevent from death and death. The first point, reason why, contemplating meditation, method of contemplating how you should think. You have to, death is sudden and nobody can prevent him from death. And you have to reflect, no beings in history has escaped death. So you have to think, in history, there is no history that, so and so is not dead. No location offers refuge from death. There is no other location. If there's no, if there's some location, if you go this location or this place, you will not die. You're free from death. There's no such way. No wealth, power, influence can be bribe death. Nobody can bribe or buy the death by power, influence, or wealth. No medicine or technology can permanently prevent the death. Even spiritual attainment cannot make the body immortal. Even arahat who have attained the self-liberation, they have to leave this body, because this body was a protector of negative ignorance and afflictive emotions. So this you have to contemplate it first point, and then meditate, practice reflecting on historical example like great rulers, saints, great figures, and then you ordinary people, all since about your birth, so who all die. So you have to reflect, consider how even the most protected, powerful individual eventually death. They scrumped, they all die. So, and then contemplated that your own death is as sudden as days. Also, the reason why, he died, then that's the okay. But you have to reflect, therefore, if these are the happens, then I will die also. Then you have to, your death is also sudden. That's you have to think. The reminding of death. There's a very good story. A long time in Tibet, there's a king, a local king. He was very friendly with one of his friends who is meditating in the cave. So he said, please remind me of death. Okay, you are practicing meditation, and he was meditating. So his king asked this meditator, what do you meditate? I meditate every day. Why you meditate every day? Because death is sudden. If I don't remind myself, then I will not able to practice, and I will be not able to attain the good rebirth in the next life. So king said, okay, you remind me, okay? You also help me to remind. So, and then every time somebody die in the places or kings die, then this meditator give a message to the king. Oh king, today another ruler is die in the east side, another ruler die in, then next month is, oh no, this person was died, this person was dead. So he was telling king that. And then one day king was in the bed and he was in his dying bed. So and then he called this meditator. He said, hey, I told you to remind me the death, but you didn't remind me. Now I cannot do anything. Now I'm in my dead bed. How unfortunate is that? Then and then his meditator friend said, I keep telling you and remind you, but you ignore all of the death. I told you that this person was dead, that person was dead, that person was dead. So we shouldn't be have like that. We know that person died when we meditation, and we ignore our own death. So what happened? Therefore, it is us to remember our death. If you keep thinking about death, what happens? Naturally, most of the afflictive emotion that you have, if you have a very strong afflictive aggressive emotions, they will become diminish slowly. They will come down. If you are very arrogant, pride, jealousy person, attached person, this will be slowly lose the grief of those afflictive emotions. It's help us to reduce the emotion. So this is very important for us to remember that. Oh yeah, that's the first point. Okay.
好，那上次的那个讲义就是那个 blank 320的那一份。那我们讲过了，就是说好思维要去思维死无常的利益，然后不思维死亡的过患。那这两个大的科判或要点结束了之后呢，接下来就是我们要如何去培养思维死亡无常的这个习惯。那我们应该要怎么做呢？那在大部分的道次第的论点里面或教授里面会提到三根本九因相，也就是说会有三个很重要的点。那这三个重要的根本的点以下呢，每一个根本点下面又有三个能够支持这个论点的因相，所以就3乘以3等于9，所以总共会有9个因相。那第一个要思维的呢念头呢，就是思维死亡决定，也就是死主必来，无缘能够令其退却。那因为每个人然后宗喀巴大师曾经讲过这一点，就是说哦，每个人都有对于都好像知道说自己一定会死，可是呢，大家其实只是有这样子的想法，可是总是心中还是有很强烈的常执，也就是说呢，我虽然一定会死，可是呢，我今天一定不会死，我大概明天也不会死，后年也不会死，可能再过10年都不会死。然后呢，可能我可以活到80岁等等。所以呢，虽然有这种好像心里隐约知道说会死，但是呢，都抱持一种长直的这种想法，然后就觉得，但是死的时候一定不是今天死，一定不是明天死，一定是某一天很遥远的时候会死。那这种其实是一种很危险的态度，这种长直是一种很危险的态度。那在死亡决定的第一个因象里面，就会提到说，死主必来，无缘能令其退却，就是没有任何的因缘可以阻止死主呃的到访。例如说，我们去看历史上，从时间也来看，我们在历史上所读过的所有的人物，不管是他是王侯将领，或是多么有钱有权力的人，他都没有办法避免死亡。我们所认知到的历史上的这些人物里面，没死的应该没有任何一个人，每个人都死了。那第二点就是说，不论上山下海，在哪个地方都没有办法逃离死主，也就是说，死主一定会来到。然后不管我们躲藏到何处，我们都也没有办法逃离死主。然后在第三就是死时出法外，第三就是呢在死的时候呢，不管我们有多少的权利，我们也没有办法买通死主，让我们不要死。那即使我们能够买到最珍贵的药材，得到昂贵的治疗，我们也没有办法阻止我们死亡。所以呢，即使是像那个已经获得了自解脱的那些阿罗汉等，他们终究要跟他们的肉身脱离，因为他们的肉身呢，其实是 无明跟烦恼为因而形成的。所以只要是死亡，即使是已经获得解脱小乘证悟的阿罗汉，他们也终究要跟这个肉身分离。所以死主一定会来，不管是多么伟大的统治者，伟大的圣人们，那是我就更不用说我们这些平常人，那我们就一定会死，终究会死。而死的时候呢，我们的死亡呢，就会跟这些有权势、有权力、财富极多的这些富豪们一样的突然。所以呢，呃，我们一定要去思维，每天去思维死亡无常。那仁波切讲了一个故事，就是以前在西藏有一个地方的国王呢，他就跟有一个在修行死无常的一个修行者说：“你一定要来提醒我说死亡无常哦，因为这个修行人主修的就是死亡无常。”那所以这个国王就要求他说：“你一定要提醒我死亡无常。”所以呢，只要有人死了呢，或者是说这个修行人呢，就会常常去传讯，就是传讯息跟这个国王说：“诶，今天哪个地方有谁死了？比如说东方有一个这样的人死了，然后可能明天那个地方又有一个这样的人死了。”然后到最后呢，有一天，连国王自己都躺在病床上快死的时候呢，他还是责怪这个修行人说：“诶，我现在快死啦，我不是一直叫你提醒我有关于死亡无常吗？那我现在都病得没有办法，一定要面临死亡了，什么都做不了。那你为什么都没有提醒我死无常这件道理呢？”那修行人就跟国王说：“我已经给了你这么多的讯息。”这么多的迹象告诉你说，今天已经那个人死亡，昨天已经另外那个人死亡。我告诉你了这么多的讯息，这么多的真相，可是你却选择忽略这些真相。那我们呢？现在的情况可能就像这个国王一样，也就是说，我们明明有很多的真相可以提醒我们，死亡是无常的，死主必来，无缘可以令敌退却。但是呢，我们却常常不去思维死亡。可是呢，思维死亡让我们有什么样的利益呢？如果我们可以每天都去意念到我们一定会死，而且会随时都会有可能会死，我们很多的负面情绪，像嫉妒、贪爱、争斗、等等，那这些情绪呢，这些负面情绪就很自然的会消减，我们就可以过得比较平静的时候。
Mhm. Now the first is death of Lord of Death is definitely come and then nothing can prevent. Then you meditate on the reason why I already mentioned. The second point is over lifespan, why death is sudden, because death is sudden. The second reason is over lifespan cannot be extended and consistently diminish. Cannot extend, but also with that it's diminished consistently. So now the method of how you contemplate it in meditation is life decrease moment by moment like a candle burning. It's you really like candle light, and every moment is going to exhaustions. It's diminished very subtly, and it's diminishing. Not only diminish second, it's a millisecond is diminished. We will not recognize that. Each breath brings us closer to the death. You have to think about those. It's not just a it's not saying, it's daily. Time moves only forwards towards death and never backwards. No pause button exit for life's progress. When your life's progressing, there is no pause button. You cannot say, "Oh, I wanted to wait a little bit because I don't want to drive fast." There's no such things. It keeps moving. Even while sleep, and the worst thing is even you sleep, eating or enjoying, life continues diminished. It's slowly. It's like we are running towards the over cemetery, over death. Okay. So meditation practice is now how should you? These are the contemplations. The reason, because your mind to convince that death is Death is certain. Reason number 2 is lifespan cannot be extended. Beside that, it's consistently diminished. Now the meditation practice is visualize your remaining year as a grain of sand falling through an hourglasses. You know, the Chinese, this hourglass, when you put upside down, the sand started falling down, right? Actually, our lifespan is like that, quite scary. So then count your, sometimes you have to count your heartbeat, you know. These heartbeat are irreversible. Breathing and recognize each one as irreversible. You cannot reverse it. Once it's gone, heart breathing is gone. This will never come back, that heartbeat. Reflect on how much of your life has already passed. Sometimes you have to think, oh, how much, you know, you always think, oh, I'm like this, I'm like that. But sometimes you think, oh, I'm 40, I'm 50, I'm 60. And then most of your time was gone. Whatever you achieve in terms of your mundane achievements, like you become some professional, but all of them now gradually, especially you are retiring, none of them is valid anymore. So you should think about this, how much already time goes. When sometimes like this, if you reflected on them, then you will be, oh, remaining time, how you gonna spend. If you have not done something for benefit your death, then time flies. And all these reasons, you should remember that. And then also sometimes you say, oh, longevity, giving empowerment for long life, and also some days retreat for longevity. Actually, we are not expanding our lifespan. What we're doing, we've been trying to prevent the untimely death. Untimely death can prevent, but not we extend that death until unless you have reached first ground, first Fumi, second Fumi, and then maybe you have power to extend. Otherwise, for the ordinary beings, we cannot extend our lifespan. Under the influence of karma, nobody can extend. Okay, this is the second point, second reason why death is sudden. Okay, that's all.
接下来思维死亡决定的第二个影响就是寿命无可增添，但是无限减少。也就是说呢，我们的寿命呢，其实就像在燃烧的蜡烛一样。那燃烧的蜡烛终将它会烧尽，那所以同样的，我们的生命，我们的这一期的寿命呢，它其实是每分每秒，而且是就是每一个刹那比秒更短的，无间的在减少之中，我们离死亡越来越近，而且这不是只是嘴巴上说说，而是实际上我们的每一分每一秒就是在朝死亡走近，我们是不可能倒退，不可能后退的，也没有办法去暂停或拖延。我们就其实是不停的往死亡迈进，而我们没有办法后退，离死亡越来越远，不可能。即使不管是我们在睡觉啦、吃饭啦、享受任何的生活等等的时候呢，我们的这些时光也代表着我们的寿命正在减少，然后我们一步一步迈向自己的坟墓。那我们要去思维说这些影响，那因为死亡呢，它会突然的到来，然后呢，我们这寿命呢又已经减少了这么多。那一个很好的比喻就是去思维沙漏。那我们在华人圈通常会看到一个沙漏是上面那个沙只要掉进，就是会一直的往下漏，漏到上面最后一颗沙一粒沙都没有。所以同样的，我们的寿命的期长就跟那个沙漏一样。我们其实是每一分每一秒那个沙子都不停的往下掉，然后呢，到最后上面那个沙子上面那一层一颗沙子都不留，就跟我们的寿命到最后都没有留，就是最后一秒这一期寿命结束，我们就死了。那所以呢，我们要去想着 我们要有这样的心态，就是我们的每一分每一秒都是没有办法倒带的，都没有办法再回转。那我们去思维说，好，我们现在40岁、50岁、60岁了，我们已经把我们人生的多少时光用完了。然后呢，我们花了这40、50、60年去承办世俗上的成就，我们可能成为了某方面的专业人士。然后呢，但是在退休的时候，那这些名号，那其实就没有什么真正的实质的内涵。那我们应该要去思维，我们在过去所用的这些间，用在这些世俗上的事情，是否对于我们真的能够带来利益？那能够让我们在死亡时带来利益的到底是什么？那我们要去思维以上的这些因，然后帮助我们去思维死亡是决定一定会来，然后呢，我们的寿命不断的在减少，然后只是越来越迈向死亡。那有些人可能会想说，哎，可是有长寿灌顶啊，有长寿的闭关啊，那难道不能够延长我的生命吗？那可是呢，这些长寿的灌顶、长寿的闭关，他们的用意呢是主要要阻止非时死，就是阻止一些障碍我们能够活完寿命的那些意外的死源，它实际上并没有办法延长我们的寿命。那能够做到实际上能够延长寿命的，可能要到登地，例如说初地以上的菩萨才能够做得到。如果我们现在是凡夫，其实我们就是随着业力来决定我们这一期的寿命可以活多久。所以呢，这个死亡呢一定会来，而且我们的寿命会不断减少，是没有办法避免的。
Now, that's now third point. We are second point, right? Visualize. Yeah. The third point, third reason why death is certain is even why alive, even we still alive, there is little time for Dhamma practice, We have little time to Dhamma practice. Can you imagine? So it's very important because death is certain. Even we alive, we have a very little time for Dhamma practice. So how you should contemplate? Contemplated method is much time spent sleeping. In anybody, 1/3 of our life is already we spent sleeping. Doesn't matter how busy, how how much the time you spend on the Dhamma practice, but still we have to sleep. 1/3 significant portion devoted to earning livelihood. So very large portion of our life is earning. We study, we go to school. After teenage years, we all go to school. We have no interest in Dhamma. Then you get job, you're busy settling down family and all this. And then you started working job, So much of our time we devoted for livelihood. Time consumed by, and then can you imagine, we are eating, we are cleaning the house, we are watching news, we are entertaining ourselves, and all these times are just gone. It is not one time, this every day in our life. Then period, sometimes we fall sick, we become, and then when we old, also we cannot, we have many of us have dementia, we have very bad eyesight, we have a lot of physical issues, so there's no time for Dhamma practice. Mentally we are so distracted. Every day we have destruction or mental distractions, sometimes bad distractions, sometimes like carry away with us some kind of entertaining. Then social obligations, mundane conversation, social obligation, you have to attend the wedding, you have to attend funeral, you have to all this, all this so consume. Therefore you have a very little time to Dhamma practice. So therefore death is very certain and it's go very quickly. Now how you meditate? Meditation practice, calculate actually hours of available for spiritual practice, how much you practice. Recognizing how easily Dhamma time get displaced by tribal activities. Tribal activity means activity that was not much value. It's mundane activities, like, contemplating the preciousness of each moment for spiritual development. So therefore, if you develop this, then it will be many important is to develop urgency in our Dharma practice, because death is sudden. Therefore, we have not much time. Therefore, this is what is the main practice of contemplating death is sudden. Why we are even the third point, why we are alive. We have very little portion of time for Dharma practice. So how you can utilize your time to devote it to Dharma practice. Even we devote it because we are not 100% convinced about death and death is sudden. Therefore, we mix with the mundane motivations. So therefore, the things is even we know, if you every day, if you think again this point, then within the period of time, your mind becomes very strong towards practice Dhamma practice, and you will be very easy for you to not under the influence of afflictive emotion like distractions, attachments, all these mundane things. This will be the main point for us to remember death is sudden, is to less attach with these lives, because most of the time we consuming waste is based on that we are so attached to this life. You attach with this life, you need a reputation, you need money, you need to provide for the family, you need to make the better living, better business, better health. All this consume the time, because you're so attached with this life. Therefore, you have not thinking future life, future, even you know that we are going to die and you don't care, you don't prepare. And so these are the one of the main important to remember, that why you need to remember the death is certain. Okay, this is a third point. So the first root point, time is death is sudden. Then you have these three reasons why death is sudden. Number one is death definitely comes, and nobody can prevent. Second is death is cannot, the lifespan cannot be extend. Beside that, it will diminish every moment. Last one is, even we alive, our time for Dhamma practice is very little. Therefore, it's very important to develop urgency of Dhamma practice, time for Dhamma practice, and then utilize our time with full devotion.
好，那刚刚在思维那个生命无间减少的，还有一个思维方式，就是我们每次我们要去思维我们的心跳，我们到最后死亡的时候，我们的每一次的心跳呢，就会越来越慢，然后到最后我们就停止心跳，后我们就迈向了医疗上的死亡。好，那接下来呢，要谈的就是说，是决定的死亡决定的第三个因相，也就是呢，活时呢，修学佛法的时间极少，就是死亡是确定的。那可是呢，我们即使在活的时候呢，就是这一世还活着的时候，我们能够用来修法的时间仍然是非常的少。我们人生中有1/3的时间都在睡觉。那不管是多忙的人，多不忙的人，我们睡觉的时间就是差不多占人生的1/3。那所以呢，就几乎没有什么时间，就只剩下2/3的时间可以修法。我们醒着嘛，可是呢，在这些醒着的时候呢，我们还是小孩子或青少年的时候，我们去上学，我们大部分的时间在学业上。那等我们毕业之后，我们要出来工作，要成家立业，要花很多时间在事业上。那所以呢， 我们的很多时间呢，我们的世俗的重点呢，是去维持我们的生活，让我们自己活下去。那我们在活下去的这段时间里面，我们又花了很多时间在吃吃喝喝，在打扫家里，在看个电视啦等等这些杂事、世俗的杂事上。所以我们大半的时间，我们很多的时间就这样，花费在这件事情上。那等到我们老了，那终于可能有一些属于自己比较多的时间了。可是这时候我们通常已经生病了，或者是身体很不好，我们可能眼睛看不清楚了，那可能也有老年痴呆或健忘，那身体也大不如前。然后呢，我们的这些是我们的心理呢，可能还是呢会被生活上的很多，例如说一些娱乐的活动，一些一定要去的社交场合，例如说要婚礼啊，要去参加婚礼，要去参加葬礼，要出席某些派对，或者是要进行一些世俗上的一些社交活动。可是呢，死亡一定会来，而且它会突然的来。那我们就会发现说，我真正用在于灵性上的实修好少，我的精神修行的时间好少。我把大部分的时间都花在，例如说旅行上世俗上的这些活动上。那可是呢，我们用来发展我们自己的灵性跟精神成长的时间很少。所以呢，我们应该要去思维即使是活着的时候，我们都只有这么少的时间可以用在修行上。所以我们要去思维修行的急迫性，因为死一定会来，而且它会突然到来，而且我们平常就已经花了很多的时间在一些世俗活动上。那所以我们要善用每天的这些能够利用的时间，然后把它用于佛法的修行上。可是呢，由于我们大部分的人还是没有舍弃现实，我们还是把很多的关注的焦点放在此事的世俗活动上。所以呢，我们要避免我们的这些佛法修行不要跟这些世间的踪迹杂染在一起。那呃，如果我们能够培养这样强健的心力，然后每天的去做这样的思维说，死主必来，无缘能够利他退却，我们一定会死，我们没有办法延长我的寿命，而且我已经花了很多时间在这些世俗活动上，那我们就不会那么容易受到负面情绪影响，世间的这些世俗上的活动跟事物影响。我们就可以减低我们很多负面的情绪，我们就不会再那么贪着的此事的这些名声啦、财富啦、家人啊，想着说哦，我一定要为了我的家人有更好的生活，然后我就要努力的去工作，我要忙着我的事业等等。如果我们那样做的话呢，我们就完全没有未来式在做准备。所以我们一定要记得，就是有关于死决定的这三个根本。就是这一个根本里面的三个因相。那三根本的第一个根本是死亡决定，那它有三个因相，就是第一个死主必来，无缘可令其退却；第二个是寿命无可增添，无见减少；第三个就是活时仍无多少的时间，无余修法，没有多少的时间可以修法。这样呢，就会提醒我们，呃，把握时间修法的重要性跟急迫性，让我们好好的善用我们可以用在修行佛法的时间上，然后全心全力的修行佛法。
Mhm. Now the second root point is now time is the death of time, death is sudden, right? But unfortunately, time of death is uncertain. That is the second root point. Contemplate that the time of death is uncertain. Time of death is sudden, but time of death is uncertain. Why? So here why the time of death is sudden, because uncertain, because human lifespan has no fixed duration. Nobody have a fixed duration of lifespan. Therefore, any time we can die. This uncertain. So what contemplation method? What you have to think? Some die in. Can you imagine? Some die in mother's womb. Other die in other lives like 100 years, 90 years, 60 years. There's no human history that everybody die in certain age. This shows that time of death is uncertain for every individual. Then death comes to young, old age. There's no age differences. Oh, they're young. Normally, we're thinking that younger will be live longer, but there's no guarantee. No guarantee for completing natural lifespan. Even you have a natural lifespan, normally we have to live 80, 60, 90. But if you're young, there's no guarantee that you will live in that lifespan. Certain death can occur at any time. The death can, even you are very healthy, no any physical sickness, but you may die because of accident. You see, we hear and see. A sudden death can be occur at any time. Life expectancy provided no personal guarantee. Even we expected, oh, I may live like this, that, but there's no guarantee for personal lifespans. Now, meditation, how you meditate, those are you have to think. And the meditation practice reflect on people you have known who die unexpectedly. You have to meditate them. And consider various ages at which death commonly occurs. So you see, especially we occurs in heart attack. You see, as unexpected sickness will come, like COVID comes. Many people unexpectedly die. Very young age. Nobody ever imagined that they will die, but it's died. Unexpected. Commonly occurs. Contemplate that you could die today, tomorrow, or even in decades. So you should, like in Tibetan, we're saying that you should think like, oh, I may die anytime, ready to, like you should think like, I'm going to go ready to die. You have that kind of attitude you should develop. So, and this is one point. And now, the second point for the second root point, reason why death is uncertain, cause of death is many. To become die, there are many causes. But those of life, to expand life is very little. Like contemplative method, use countless external threat, somebody may shoot you, accident, or then something fall on you, and violence occurs, natural disasters, like today you looks okay, and then they have a cyclone, earthquake, fire, anything can happen for any time. Internal cause also, so you have a sickness, organ failure, genetic conditions, you may have like seizure and people die. Lifestyle factor like poor diet, so many stress, environmental toxic, you name them, so many factors to contributing for life. And then even beneficial things can become harmful, and you may die, like food and medicines. All they're supposed to protect you, but sometimes babies choke with the food and they die, and sometimes food poison and you die. So, and sometimes medicine overdose, you die. So even those supposed to help you to prevent for death, but they will also become the cause for death. So what you gonna expect it? That's, you have to contemplate it, think, and then now, and body also inherent fragile and vulnerability. So our physical body is such a condition, it's very, very fragile. So in Lamrim sometimes say you should meditate, your body is like big balloon filled with the impurities. You imagine the blood, pus, and then organs all wrapped, and the balloon fill up with the impurity, and then in the surrounding areas these thorns. So when the balloon moves, if any is touch the thorn, peak of the thorn, and then it's gonna burst, right? So we practitioners should always think that our body is like so fragile, like balloon put of impurity. Okay, you should think like. Now meditation, how should we meditate? List the various way death common occurs. So you should list up all that you have to, in mentally you have to list oh, death of cause of death is like this. You have to list them, especially which happening in your area, and then recognize how many things must go right for continuation survival. So to survive, our body was normally we have to, it's impermanent. We have to survive. We have to walk. We have to rest. We have to sleep. We have to eat on the right time. We have to take some tablet. We have to regularly go to hospital to prevent this, that. So many things we're trying to do to prevent that. You see, so the survival. So and then contemplate the body is dependent on the dedicated balance. So also note those survivors, we are not survivor, we are maintaining the relation between physical body and our external resources. But if you do not balance, if you eat too much, you will die also. If you are too extremely too cold, then you catch some sickness and you may die. If you have too much heat, then also you are going to die. So there are many factors. When you think about those, oh my gosh, these are the so many factors for me to die, and this survival is even the cause of survival will be, it can become the cause for death. So you have to, therefore I must practice now. I must practice. So why you have to think? Because I need to practice, because these are the, if you reflected on them, meditate on them, and then you fear and develop fear and no any other interest, and you depress, that is not the purpose. Your purpose is to develop agency. Now, what should I do? I should practice Dhamma only. Now this will come later. This say this. Now the sixth point is the point that the third point. Human body is extremely fragile. Beside that, even you try to prevent, it's very difficult, because human body is such a way, it's like very fragile, very, very delicate. Contemplate it, you think about that. Body composed of element inconsistent fluids. These 5 element, 4 element, whatever is, but it's very easily to imbalance. You may have fever, you may have diarrhea, you may have a dehydrated, so many other things could be, because it's made up of that. So one of these elements getting imbalance, you get sick, and it can easily lead to death. Suspensible to countless diseases and injuries. It is so many cause to injury, disease, even you don't know this. Suddenly you look healthy and suddenly you have found some sickness in body. Some of them are terminal, and suddenly you look okay, and then you have a shoulder pain, and you have a head pain, then you have all these pains. These pains lead to continuous other degeneration in your body. And then also depend on the precise temperature, pressures, chemical balance in body. Can you imagine if one of those is imbalance, it will be breakdown into nervous damage, tissue damage, and blood damage. And if something goes wrong, then there's other chemicals up, like glucose, glucose up, triconol. You see, when you go to, like, here we have a, in America, maybe in the Taiwanese also you do that. America, we go to every 6 months, go to doctors. When I check the list, all this medical terms, this comes red, comes red, this comes red. More you're getting older, all the red comes, between this limit 65 and 100, all goes up. Then you have tried to maintain. Sometimes even you don't know the causes why I get a high cholesterol, why I have low cholesterol. Even you are eating the right time. So that shows body was so fragile. So vulnerability to the internal breakdowns and external harms. So you go to, many people go to externally, you go to hiking vacation, and suddenly you fall down, and you have a head injury. I have many people who know they go to outside to eat something, and then you fall down or sleep and they hit your head, and you have a blood injury in your brain and you die, even very young. So like the bubble of water droplet. So Buddhism will say you should think your body is a bubble and water droplet. Bubbles just pop up and then it's burst and disappeared. water droplets in the dew, water droplet in the morning dew on the in the leaves. When the sun comes, it's just poop and it's gone. Seemingly intact, looks like it's intact and solid, but it can easily burst and disappear. Our body is like that. This is a contemplation. You have to think like that, then meditate. Examine your body's various systems. Can you imagine your heart? It's functioning for like 50 years, 30 years. If it can fail very easily, system, their vulnerabilities, they can be many cause for us to, even if we have sometimes wrong position to sleep, it may cause our death also. Reflect on how minor change can cause major problems. So we have sometimes even go to take a teeth and it's cause us for death. Sometimes you say, oh, you have to do I have a friends who have done the surgery and then their whole life become paralyzed. So they have so many. We don't think we are healthy and strong. The thinking is one thing, but you should think that this is not fixed or solid. It's very fragile. Contemplate body of temporary collection of elements. It's just temporary collection of elements. What are you going to expect it with the collection of elements? They are, they are always very easy to disharmony. We try to maintain harmony and balance. So if something was completely formed from the collection of the different element, you are maintaining those elements to be in balance, and they are provide the right cause for sustain. So you have to sustain each of these elements. Therefore, it's very, very fragile. So you see the time of death is death is sudden, time of death is uncertain. Time of death is uncertain with the three reasons. First one is human lifespan is not fixed duration. Second is cause of death is many and survival is few. Last one is human body is extremely fragile, very, very fragile. Therefore, its time of death is uncertain. Okay, this like that.
好，那接下来呢？在第二个版本是那个死期无定，也就是说呢，总南占卜州人死期无定，就是说人类呢，其实他是什么时候死是不一定的。我们知道很多例子呢，是有人就是胎死腹中的，他还在母亲的子宫里面的时候他就已经死了。那有些人呢，却能够活到7、8、90岁或100岁。所以呢，人类的寿命呢其实是不一样的。那我们去纵观整个人类的历史呢，其实也不一定说就是老的人会比较早死，有可能呢年轻的人呢会比老人先死，所以就是白发人送黑发人的这样的情况。那虽然一般来说好像大部分人现在都可以活到80岁，可是呢也有很多时候呢是死亡会随时任何时候都可能发生。即使呢，这个人可能没有什么样的疾病，可是任何一个意外来临，他就死了。那所以呢，没有任何的保证可以保证任何哪一个人呢，他可以活多久。所以我们要一直不停的去思维说，死的时间是没有办法预期的。那我们一定会死，可是呢，会有很多让我们突然死亡的情况，例如说，有些人有心脏病，那他的心脏病发，他就突然死了。或者是说呢，前几年有新冠疫情，那新冠疫情出现的时候呢，很多人从来没有想过自己会在那个年纪那么早就死亡，可是呢，因为染到了新冠疫情，所以呢，他们就很早就突然就死了。所以今天、明天我们都有可能死，也不一定是小孩子就可以活得比我们更久。任何时候我们都有可能会死。那所以在西藏的观念里面呢，随时准备好要死亡，这个态度是非常的重要的。那这是死期无定的第一个印象，就是总占卜州人死期无定。那死期无定的第二个印象呢，就是死缘甚多，活缘极少。也就是说，我们活着的时候呢，能够 导致我们死亡的因缘实在是太多了，我们可能随时就被流弹射击，然后我们可能会遭到任何的暴力而死亡。那或者呢，也会有很多的天然灾害，例如说突然来个台风、龙卷风，然后有地震、有火灾等等。那能够支持我们活下去的因缘呢，却非常的少。那死亡呢，除了刚刚讲到的就是说外在的这些因素，那也有可能呢，因为心理的压力，然后导致我们，然后死亡。那也有可能我们所在的环境里面有一些环境的毒素，我们也可能会因此而死亡。那活源极少呢，甚至活源呢也会转为死源。例如说，我们吃食物是为了要让我们身体能够维持运作，能够活下来。可是呢，如果食物吃太多，或者食物有沾染到什么样的毒素，我们甚至可能会因为食物中毒而死。那例如说，我们吃药是为了让我们的身体能够维持一定的运作，可是呢，有时候只是药剂过量，或者是药剂不对，或是给错药，那我们也因此而死亡。所以我们要去思维说，呃，不仅死为人极多，连活源都会转为死源。那死期无定的第三个因象呢，就是我们的这个人的身体呢是极为脆弱的。那我们要去思维说，我们这个身体呢，其实就像是一个泡泡或气球。那它是一个气球呢，它是一个里面充满了污秽物的气球。那它随时呢，只要小小的一根针来刺，那它就爆炸了，它就破掉了。所以呢，我们的身体的脆弱情况呢，就像这样子。那我们可以去列出呢，会造成我们这个身体毁坏的很多原因，例如说我们所住的环境可能有很多危险的因子，然后呢，即使呢我们日常的这些行住坐卧饮食吃饭等等，我们想要用来维持我们这个身体的这些活动，也都有可能造成我们身体突然坏灭的原因。那不管我们是定时会去吃一些药啦，或者是呃定时会去医院啦，我们是为了我们的身体去做这样子的事情。可是呢，这些因缘也可能会造成我们的身体死亡。那刚刚讲过了，例如说我们在吃东西，那我们的外在环境呢，我们可能会吃太多，然后我们就死了。或者是说呢，我们冷到了，太冷，那我们也会生病，也会死亡；太热，我们也会死亡。所以我们就要去想，天哪，我们身体会造成我们身体死亡的因缘也太多了吧？真的是很多。那这些活源呢，也会转为，甚至活源也会转成死源。所以我们一定要从现在就开始修行，而不是就是我们去讲刚刚讲的这些死期无定啊、死源甚多、活源甚少啊、身体很脆弱啊，然后南征部洲人，然后不一定什么时候死的，这些不是为了要让大家产生恐惧，也不是为了让大家陷入焦虑，而是要去提振大家的心力。讲这些教授呢，去思维死亡的这个教授或禅授呢，主要是要激励大家去现在每天就开始去修行佛法。那去思维这些的话呢，那我们就可以减少我们的那些负面的情绪。那我们要知道说，要去遮止这些死源是非常的困难的。例如说，我们的身体中只要四大种不平衡，那我们可能就会发烧，我们可能会腹泻，我们可能会脱水等等。那我们也有无数的呃身体里面的这些器官呢，都很容易就是说，哦，这个人可能平常看起来还很健康，或者是我们平常觉得自己很健康，可是莫名其妙就发现自己的身体哪里有一个伤口，哪里撞伤了、碰伤了，或者是去做检查就发现我其实已经长了肿瘤了。那又觉得说，哎，我的身体这里痛那里痛，肩膀、手等等都痛，那其实就已经是一个征兆，表示说，哎，我的身体其实已经在退化了。还有很多，例如说，化学上的污染，例如说我们的神经可能受到影响，已经受到了伤害，或者是我们的血液也可能受到污染、受到伤害，或者是我们摄取过多的糖类，已经有了太多的糖尿，可能已经有了糖尿病等等。那在美国的话呢，那人们会习惯定期的去做检查。那在台湾似乎也有这样的情况，就是可能每半年去做一次身体检查。那在 去做检查之后，那个报告出来就会有一大堆指标嘛，你的胆固醇、高胆固醇、低胆固醇是多少多少，有没有超标？然后那个应该有的那个标准的那个数值应该是60到多少啦，哪里到哪里啊？然后就会看到自己的报告上面有一大堆的红字这样子。那这些呢，也是显示说我们的身体有非常多很脆弱的器官，很容易受影响，受外在环境或内在环境影响的一个征兆跟迹象。那很多人其实他是为了健康，然后去做登山、健行、度假等等。可是呢，他可能在登山健行的时候吃得很饱，然后或者是说他不小心跌倒了，然后就撞伤了头部，然后因此而死亡。仁波切就有这样子的朋友，还很年轻，那就已经发生了这样子的情况。所以呢，在佛法的思维里面，我们应该去思维我们的身体就像一个泡泡一样，就像一个气球一样，然后甚至呢，就像早晨那个树叶上的露珠一样，只要日光一出来，它就会消散。那我们的身体外在看起来非常的坚实、坚固、牢固，可是呢，它很容易因为一些微小的因缘，它就很容易的损伤而消失。那我们去想说，哦，我们的心脏到目前为止已经为我们工作了这么多年，可能50年了，可能60年了，总有一天这个心脏它会衰竭，它会停止作用。我们的睡觉的时候呢，有可能会因为姿势的不正确，然后就导致我们也可能在睡眠中死亡。所以任何一点微小的改变都有可能为我们身体带来极大的麻烦。例如说，仁波切有一个朋友，他只是去做个手术，结果他后半身都瘫痪了。所以我们看起来很稳固、很坚硬的这个身体，其实它很脆弱。它为什么脆弱呢？因为它是由暂时的因缘而成的。那我们都知道，凡有为法，终究会消散，终究它会聚散，它会聚就会散。那它会有不同的原因，然后使它消散。所以呢，我们提供给他，让他维持他聚合的这些因缘呢，也可能会成为促使它消散的因缘。所以，我们今天呢，总结来说呢，讲到了死亡三根本中的两个根本，然后死亡两个根本中的3个因相加3个因相，总共6个因相。所以呢，第一个就是思维死是死主必定到来，就是第一个就是死亡决定，那就是死主必来，然后无缘可以令其退却，然后寿命无可增添，无间减少，以及活时修学佛法的时间极少。那在接下来第二个根本是死亡无常，死期无定，也就是总占不收人死亡寿命无定，然后死缘甚多，活缘甚少。还有第二个根本里面的第3个因相是我们的身体是极为脆弱的。好，那就请大家好好的去思维这今天所上到的2个根本跟总共6个因相。那其实时间已经到了。
Okay, now today we stop here, but please, when today we discuss the first two main root point, and then three sub point for each of these, you have to, when you reflect, this looks like scary. When you scare, and that's very good. So what happened when you scare and then you meditate again, and then what happens? Oh, so you start meditating, then you get upset. You will realize thing about death. Oh, there's no point to get upset. You know, if you get upset, you get angry, it's a negative. If you have a negative non-virtuous, who will going to experience the suffering in future? You, after your death in future. So therefore, why you are alive? Why you creating negative karma again and again? Especially, like you get upset easily, and especially you are stressed. There's nothing to stress. You're still alive. There are many other reasons for you to be happy and joyful. And you die, and it's very unserious. So when you have meditated again, then all the other afflicting emotions, negative emotions will be calmed down, because your death was so strong. And then anything, especially those you are practicing right now, most of we are practice for these lives. Oh, I practice so I can accumulate merits, and so I have a happy life. I'm free from obstacle. We are just focusing on this very shallow, so-called spiritual. Even it's not spiritual, proper spiritual. So when you about thinking about death, then even you do the prostration, immediately you think, oh, may I have purified negative karma so that I may not born into this low realms in future. May I born into the good rebirth, and so I can continue practice dhamma and become enlightened. So you can think like that. And then that even though you have some difficult problem, oh, I'm still alive, I have an opportunity to practice continue. This is a problem, temporary problems. Any problem in our life are temporary. These are temporary. Even you want them to have every day in your life, they will not going to stay because they are impermanent. They will going anyway. But your main focus, normally we waste all the mind to focus into the small things in our life. Oh, I have this problem with this problem, that problem. Oh, you are so over consumed with this idea of this life small problem. When you think about that, these problems become very small. They become very small, and you feel not object of worry and object of concern. Your main concern is the future life. So while you are alive, even you do prostration, do offerings, whatever you're doing, donation, all you dedicated for your future life and purification, accumulation merits to become Buddha very quickly. So because that, if you remember that, you become very humble, very more and more spiritual. Even you are then, if you have continuous thinking about this, and then what happens? Slowly they build up some kind of understanding and energy and spiritual gain. Then everything you do, your purity become the spiritual practice. When you remember the death. So it's very important in Choje Apanda Atisha, he was asked by one of his disciples, if I don't meditate on death, what happens? He said, you are too attached with this life and you will get nothing. He said, what I will get if I not meditate? You will get nothing, zero. And then what I get future if I don't meditate? If you don't meditate on death, in future you will born into hell, hungry ghost, attached animal, he said. So the reason why, because you are so attached with this, to attach this with your life. So this life, you to recruit whatever you want, and then you fight with that person, you hate with that person, you do bad things with this, bad thing this with, then it's all, they keep accumulating negative karma, negative karma. If you think death, oh, if I die, I will born in this, so I don't want to do this, then immediately it helps you to prevent many negativities. Okay, this very important. So please reflect this. Even beginning, you are not comfortable with this idea. Anyway, if you have nothing about this, then also will let you to go. It will be your. Let go easily. You can easily let go some of your hard feelings, because you're not going to live long. Nobody have a guarantee, no. So while you're living, you should be very like spiritual. You become useful, live harmony, and you live lovingly, live as a good husband, good wife, good citizen, good friends, good colleague, good employee, good employees. You have to do think all this, because as long as you live, and when you die, then nothing. Why you are right now, your purity in life, you may do this business. Of course, you have to do this to pay the bills. But if you focus too much on your time of death, oh, the 40 years, 60 years, 50 years, whatever you have done become nothing. They are no meaning. You buy the big house. Time of your death, your big house is nothing. You may have a big balance. While you are alive, you are stingy, you didn't do any generosity, and now time of death, somebody will eat. And that's it. There's nothing. So therefore, why we are alive, this is all because of not remembering the death. So please, death is very powerful meditation. It's very powerful purification. Even you do the spiritual, and then you will become very meaningful spiritual practitioner, very true, genuine practitioner. If we think about death, this help to become a really genuine practitioner. Otherwise, we become mundane practitioner. Mundane practitioner, then you are mixed with all this life's gain, fame, name, and all these. Okay, so please reflect it, meditate on this state again and again and again. Then you become a very good spiritual person. Okay, thank you.
好，所以我们今天呢，我们会暂停在两个根本，思维死无常的两个根本，以及各自的3个因相，就总共6个因相的部分。那如果一开始做这样的思维的时候感到害怕、恐惧，这是个很好的征兆。那这时候呢，应该要再继续思维。那如果呢，在思维的时候心里觉得不舒服，觉得不喜欢，那也好，就是可以在这样的情绪下再继续思维，因为呢，去思维说，如果我觉得不舒服，如果我觉得不快乐，哦或生气等等，那这些其实是负面的情绪，这些呢是恶念，那这些会让我们受苦。那这些负面的情绪呢，会让我们感到压力，感到不舒服。那可是呢，在我们活着的时候，我们应该要感到快乐，我们应该要感到喜悦啊。如果我们常常去思维死亡呢，我们就可以让这些恶念减低，让这些烦恼减低，我们就可以活得更平静。那死亡是一个非常有力的修持，它会让我们不只是去做世间上这些肤浅的灵性上或精神上的修持，因为我们现在做很多的，例如说大礼拜啦、供养啦，很多时候其实并不是为了要呃并不是为了来世着想，而是想说，哦，我做这些礼拜供养这些法行，可以让我此世事业成功啦，让我去除障碍啊，等等。可是实际上来讲，这并不是我们做佛法修行真正要达成的目的。如果我们只是想着这一世、今世要成功，今世要去除障碍，那这其实是非常粗浅的、肤浅的一种修持方式。如果我们去想着我们做这些佛法修行，我们是要净化我们的恶业，有好的来生，所以我们持续的去修行下去的话，那这才会让我们修行佛法的呃品质呢是比较精纯的，比较纯粹，而且是比较真实的。如果我们常常或者是如果我们持续不间断的去思维死无常的道理、死亡的这个主题，那我们所遇到的这些困难，我们会了解到说这些困难都是暂时的，我随时都有可能会死，所以这些困难，就算现在觉得是困难又怎么样？这些困难也有一定会消失的一天。而且呢，就是因为我们平常不思维死亡无常，所以我们把我们很多的心思，大部分的心思都专注在我们日常生活上的这些小事。因为我们的视野都放在这些小事上面，所以我们就会觉得这些小事，给我的压力好大，很繁重，然后让我喘不过气来等等。可是如果我们去思维死亡无常，那我们日常生活中的这些小事就真的只是小事，我们根本就不会去担心，我们根本就不会去关注说啊，有这些小事好重要啊，然后我一定要处理这么多的小事啊。我们真正的关注会放在来世。那由于我们的关注放在来世之后，我们所做的这些大礼拜，我们所做的这些净化恶业，都是为了我们来世能够有增上生、有投生善趣，然后甚至解脱，以及能够为了有情而迅速成佛。那这样呢，才会让我们真正成为一个货真价实、实实在在的一个灵性上的修持人，精神上的修持人。那我们渐渐的呢，就会变得是一个更善体人意的人，一个精神上修持的很好的人，一个能够更快乐、更能够慈爱的人。那阿底峡尊者的弟子曾经问他说，就是如果就是他就问说，老师啊，如果我这一世呢，不去做死亡的禅修呢，那我会得到什么？那阿底峡尊者就对他弟子说，那你什么都得不到，你只会得到贪着此事。那 弟子就问他说：那如果我这一世不思维死亡的话，我来世会得到什么？那阿底峡尊者对他的弟子说：那你来世会投生三恶趣。所以呢，我们就想说，我们今世啊，我们今世为了这些财富，为了这些受用、名声等等，我们跟多少人成为了敌人？我们跟谁互相争斗？我们对谁做了坏事？我们累积了多少的恶业？可是呢，在死亡的时候，如果我们没有做完净化恶业的行为，我们死的时候一定是带着这些恶业投生到三恶趣。所以呢，仁波切请求大家一定要对于这样子的修持有信心，而且每天的串习，因为这样可以帮我们阻止我们去造作恶业，甚至会遮止我们、减少我们的负面情绪。那对于然后呢，如果我们养成一个习惯，我们平常觉得不是那么容易放下的一些很难受的情绪，我们就不会觉得难以放下，我们就会渐渐的能够释怀，能够放手，愿意让这些情绪过去。我们可以让自己成为一个有用的人，一个很好的灵性精神修持者。我们可以成为一个很好的伴侣，很好的配偶，一个慈爱的父亲母亲，一个好的朋友，一个好的员工，一个好的老板。那当然，我们还是需要在这世界上做一些工作，我们需要做一些行为，能够让我们能够付账单，让我们维持生活下去。可是呢，如果我们的生活都是只专注在这些维持我们的生活面的这些事情上，例如说我们过去40、50年里面都是在累积财富，为了要买一个大房子，那或有什么样好的受用，或者是累积银行存折里面的数字，或者是要吃好吃的东西。可是我们死的时候，这些都带不走。我们的房子，我们银行里面的钱，我们留下的自己舍不得用的，我们很吝啬，不愿意施给他人的东西，在我们死的时候，全部死后都是留给他人受用。所以，当我们还活着的时候，我们就应该要再三思维死亡。那死亡呢，是个非常有力的修持，它可以让我们成为一个修行修得非常有意义的修行人，而且是一个非常真真真真正正的实实在在的一个修行人。那我们就不会是一种所谓的世俗修行人。世俗修行人就是呢，好像有在修行，可是呢，他贪着的是名利，是此生的财富，是此生的受用。所以，仁波切拜托大家，每天一定要再三的去思维死亡无常跟死亡的道理。那希望大家都能够成为一个好的灵性修持者。那是
Thank you, Tujiche. Okay, we stop here.
好，谢谢大家，今天上课到此为止。